Okay, what exactly are events? We can see them on Scratch, they've got their own little group. Up here in the top corner, when we click on it, and you can see the key word here is when. In most cases, when something happens. Well, that's effectively what an event is the computer waits for these things to happen. If a computer doesn't receive at least one event, it won't do anything. Think of it like traffic lights for a pedestrian crossing. Most of the time they sit there with a green light showing for the traffic to go through and the red person telling you to stop and not cross. The event is you pressing the button. That kicks in a sequence of actions. It will change from green to red, stopping the traffic, and then it will signal you that it's then safe to cross for a period of time before changing back and shutting itself down. On your computer in front of you, it's always listening for events to happen. It's waiting for you to move the mouse or press something on the keyboard. These are events. If you don't move the mouse, it won't suddenly get a life of its own and get bored and go to the corner and visit the start bar. It'll just sit there waiting for an event. And the same with the keyboard, as if you're typing a document, it won't suddenly decide to write the complete works of Shakespeare. It will wait until an event such as you pressing a key. So in all computer programs, it's always waiting for at least one event. Now that event may trigger other actions that happen perpetually, and we'll look at that, and that's called a loop. So here are events. I've used the event green flag as a starter, so it will wait for this green flag to be pressed. And we're going to use these a couple of times before we move on to sensing. Sensing is slightly different. Sensing is where it's actually listening for something to happen, but while it's in a loop. So it's already doing something else, and the key word is there, and it's listening for another event to happen. So with the sensing there, they're different from events because they have to be all of these things here, where it's, is it touching something, have you pressed a key? You may think, well, what's the difference between have you pressed the space key there and have you pressed the space key there, which is an event? Well, you would need to trigger the whole thing to begin with an event, such as when that is pressed. Once you've triggered it, and once the code is running, then you may also want to press another button. And from that point of view, we would use sensing, so it's very different. So the key thing about an event is the computer program will wait there until it receives at least one event before it does anything. And that's why we're using events.